Today we are going to talk about being happy every day. We usually bless others. They often say, "I wish you a happy day."
But in fact, how many people are really happy every day?
I firmly believe
98% of people in this world.
you can't be happy every day.
Teach you today. A method.
Be happy all the time. Really achieve happiness every day.
Happy all the time. So first, I want to say something. Why is it hard for us to be happy?
Of course, you may be happy easily. Of course, some people find it difficult to be happy.
We always feel unhappy, not really because we live. What difficulties did you encounter?
Or something unhappy.
Rather, our brains are designed to.
It's hard to feel happy.
Just look at the animals in nature and you will know. Emotions commonly displayed by animals.
Why?
Just be vigilant, angry and scared, intimidated.
There is basically no such emotion as happiness. The purest natural animal. Basically, there is no emotion of happiness. Because happiness is not important for survival.
Happiness can make your life better.
But I can't let you live.
And what can keep you alive? It's fear and vigilance.
These things will keep you alive. And these are all negative emotions. This may also be the reason why animals don't laugh.
Because in nature,
there is no need to laugh at this emotion.
And we are the same.
Us as an animal. Our brain has a very important job. It's the constant perception of threats.
To anticipate danger, and this unhappiness. It has nothing to do with objective conditions. How much money do you have?
Are you handsome or not? Are you highly educated?
It doesn't matter. It's a problem that all humans have.
And currently, a very terrible fact has been basically established. It's this unhappy state of the brain.
Possibly is.
A default working state of our brain.
In 2010, two psychology professors at Harvard University, Matthew Canisos and Daniel Gilbert, conducted a psychological study.
Find out when people are awake.
Mind wandering 47% of the time.
It's just that you might be doing something, but you're thinking about something else. Or in a daze. During this time, harmony accounts for about half of a person's waking hours. They call this state of mind and body wandering. So in this wandering state, people
just feel unhappy.
Because when you don't
actively thinking about something,
it's when you're mentally distracted. The brain will enter the default working state. Start predicting danger. Imagine what's going to happen even more horribly.
This is our instinct. So as long as we are distracted,
it's easy to be unhappy.
And the busier we are,
we'll be happier.
This is quite counterintuitive, but
workaholics are happy. It's actually a kind of happiness. And once he is free, it's easy to be unhappy. We might want to be less busy.
Want to take a rest.
But it turns out that
if you take a rest,
may be less happy than when busy. Of course, if you take a break,
is to do other things you like to do, entering another state of concentration, then there is no problem. The problem is that once you are not focused, once you get distracted, the brain will never waste this time.
It will try its best to predict all kinds of dangers.
Some people don't know how to kill time. It will be particularly uncomfortable when you have some free time.
Yes, even if you plant flowers,
raise grass. If he knows what he is doing, there will be no problem.
What are you afraid of? It's just being in a daze and getting distracted.
Certainly, for happiness. Let's just reduce this leisure time. Is far from enough, because our brain
still have a question.
This is called negativity bias in psychology.
Or negativity bias.
What does that mean? That is,
people tend to pay more attention to negative information.
Negative news, easier to focus on bad things. More likely to have strong emotions towards them.
It's also easier to deal with these bad things. Thinking about it, make them look
have a greater impact than it actually does. This is why you are trending
inside the headline list. The reason why most of the previous news is bad. Even if 80% of the time in real life it's good news, only 20% is bad news.
Even 20% can be on the hot search. It's the same when we do something.
Even if most things go well,
just a small mistake,
a little unhappiness, we will also pay attention to this place.
Infinite zoom.
And ignore all the good parts. It's my instinct.
What I just said.
The instinct to predict danger is the same.
It's our danger.
Negative information will be more sensitive. In ancient times, this negative information is actually harmful to our survival. More important,
Until now, society.
we may not need to care much about negative information. But this way of thinking is deeply ingrained in us, difficult to change.
So,
As a creature,
objectively, from a subjective point of view,
it's hard to be happy. We're in danger from the outside world.
the bad news is that it's more sensitive. This is an objective factor.
But even without these objective factors, let's talk at our own leisure.
I also started to imagine some dangerous things.
So regardless of objective or subjective, it's hard for us to be happy.
So if you want to improve this,
Bring us unhappy situations,
it's a little difficult to change our mindset.
but we can use some other means. For example, try to read as little negative information as possible. For example, try to reduce your leisure time as much as possible.
Keep yourself busy.
It's good to do what you want to do. Or your friends keep saying negative things to you.
He will refuse to associate with you.
Because if this unhappy mood develops seriously,
Will become depression. It may even lead to some very serious consequences.
make you sick or commit suicide. There are all these. So in addition to what we just said, these two situations are from the inside to the outside.
Beyond the factors that produce our unhappiness,
In fact, there is another situation that can cause us to be unhappy,
and this unhappiness will last longer.
more serious,
So someone noticed this a long time ago.
and really study it as a problem.
It was in the 1990s.
It was at that time that Japanese psychologists, logically speaking, Japan is in a period of high economic growth. The overall social environment in Japan is very good. As a result, they found a lot of people commit suicide. Among them are many children and teenagers. Just children.
Teenage suicide rates are rising. They study why children and teenagers think about suicide. Like adults,
There will be problems with illness or financial pressure.
cause suicide.
But why do children commit suicide? Results study to discover.
These children have lost a sense.
They call this feeling self-affirmation.
It should be called self-love. It's that they lost their love for themselves.
They don't know the value of their existence. They don't like themselves. They feel that their lives are meaningless.
So they kill themselves.
So what is a sense of self-affirmation so far?
This term does not have a clear definition.
Because it was only discovered in recent years.
Gradually serious problems, as we often say. Young people don't seem to have much energy. Doesn't seem to be trying too hard, that feeling. In fact, it is related to this loss of self-affirmation.
Has a great relationship. They are not happy. That is, many developed countries have discovered that.
The richer they are,
As a result, people don't want to live anymore. Passing is a loss of self-affirmation and self-love. So currently I think,
what does this self-affirmation mean? It refers to the individual's view of himself in terms of appearance and spirit,
recognition of character traits and behavioral performance.
appreciation and affirmation.
Have you lost? Yes or no? I'm telling you it's like this. I just don't like my appearance. Or you don't like your current situation.
This self is certainly not innate. It will continue to change with the ups and downs of life. Some people are born with very little. Some people are born with a lot.
It's this sense of self-affirmation, developed to a certain extent. He will go to the other extreme. It becomes narcissism. Developing in a good direction means self-confidence and self-esteem.
So this sense of self-affirmation, it's not that more is better.
It must have, but only within a suitable range.
Simply say,
self-affirmation is being content with who you are. Believe that your existence is valuable and meaningful. The most direct manifestation of having no sense of self-affirmation. It's a serious inferiority complex.
can't accept myself. See if anyone is better than yourself.
No matter how you look at it, you think others are good. There is no benefit to me at all.
This is a manifestation of loss of self-affirmation. Some people behave more seriously. It's just that there's nothing good about my whole body. These will become a problem for you.
and your troubles are meaningless. If a person cannot accept himself, if you can't like yourself, will live in pain.
Ultimately makes sense. So,
after Japanese psychologists discovered this phenomenon, there are many studies in Japan
just specifically for this issue.
How to improve people's sense of self-affirmation. Finally, let them develop self-love.
Make them feel that their lives are meaningful. Maybe you know more or less that you are missing a part of yourself.
Sense of self-affirmation.
If it's full, it's completely narcissistic. This kind of person is particularly scary.
There are very few such people. More or less, everyone will suffer a little loss.
But the degree is different. Some people are very serious. A little self-affirmation satisfies.
No, he may go to extremes.
What would happen if there was no sense of self-affirmation? It has many bad places. No sense of self-affirmation.
The most direct manifestation is the inability to feel happiness. This inability to feel happiness. It's when others praise you.
Others affirm you. You can't even feel happiness.
You will think others. It's a compliment to you.
Not fact. Constantly thinking they are lying.
And then it will also cause trouble to others.
Others will think, I sincerely praise you. Why don't you admit it? So you lose your sense of self-affirmation.
There is another very obvious performance.
Just don't want to do anything.
Don't dare to do anything. Deep down they think.
Whatever they do, they will fail. So do nothing. Don't go to work. You might end up not being able to go to work. Can't go to school.
If a person does nothing for a long time,
life cannot be improved.
Destiny cannot be changed.
In the end, it forms a kind of giving up on life.
Giving up on oneself.
This loss of self. It has nothing to do with your real environment.
No matter how rich you are, he may fall into this kind of self-loss.
Once this kind of mentality arises,
he wouldn't want to.
He has already determined that his result will be a failure. No matter how much money you give him, he will keep trying. He doesn't even try. Sometimes this happens.
That has nothing to do with family environment. It's just a problem in his own heart.
He lost his self-affirmation. That's because Mom and Dad are so awesome.
It is also possible that this comparison arises.
Even if he fails only once,
he may feel,
I can never surpass my parents.
Cannot achieve their achievements.
So I just don't do anything.
A feeling of giving up on life.
After the loss of self-confidence,
a very big problem will arise is that
it affects those around you. Loss of self-affirmation.
It will seriously affect the growth of children.
That is, if your parents have extremely low self-confidence. This kid loses confidence easily. In other words, the loss of self-affirmation. Not only will it affect yourself, it will affect many people around you. It's not that he will inherit it. It's just that the impact will be huge. This so-called self-confidence,
it's a sense of self-affirmation,
will change over time. Just look at this person. He is very unsure now. Maybe he was very confident before.
He is not confident now.
It may become a kind of confidence. In other words, this situation can be improved.
So a sense of self-affirmation. It turns out that as time goes by,
and if it keeps changing,
that is to say, this question, it may happen to all of us.
What to say now?
Can directly trigger this loss of self-affirmation.
First,
it's a failure.
Life is rarely smooth sailing.
There will always be failure.
When encountering failure and setbacks, especially the ones that keep appearing, times of failure and setbacks,
people will continue to lose this sense of self-affirmation. I have some friends who are getting married.
He never gets approval from his wife.
It just doesn't work.
If you are not smart, don't make these decisions.
I'm going to mention this. Causing a loss of self-affirmation.
The second reason is the denial from the outside world. When people have been living in a negative environment, he began to lose confidence. Then the third one. What are the causes of loss of self-affirmation? Just compare. Even if you don't, what's so tragic? I haven't failed much in the past.
But compare yourself with the people around you.
You will keep losing if you just want to compare.
Everyone is at risk of losing their sense of self-affirmation. You compared him.
You won't. But the problem is you can't beat everyone. Most people are willing to compare higher, better than.
This can easily lead to the collapse of one's own mentality.
So it can't be compared. I can only say that everyone is different. Never compare. So to summarize,
there are three main reasons for losing your sense of self-affirmation. One is the past of failure. The second,
just be denied. The third, just compare.
So now that you know, causes of loss of self-affirmation.
How do we solve it?
In fact, these three problems are difficult to solve directly. Because we can't forget the past. Because it's hard for us to shut other people's mouths.
Let them not deny us.
Because it's hard not to compare.
No matter how excellent you are,
there's always something you can't compare with.
No matter how perfect you are,
there will be flaws eventually, and this flaw will be infinitely amplified.
The way to solve this problem is that you don't look at him, but in real life.
There's always this kind of thing everywhere.
It can be solved without looking at it.
But you can't help but see it.
You have no choice but to live in this human society.
There is no way not to compare. There is no way we can completely avoid these three problems.
And the past is in your brain. You can't keep thinking about your history of failure. It will constantly erode your self-confidence.
Drain your confidence.
Since it cannot be solved directly. So how to solve it? In fact, there are some indirect methods. First, just try to praise yourself.
Stand in front of the mirror and praise yourself. For example, you are so handsome.
Praising yourself is the first step to restoring your sense of self-affirmation. This kind of praise, this kind of certainty does not require any basis. On the contrary, it is better to have no basis.
Why just say what the basis is?
In fact, it is based on comparison.
Because I'm prettier than him.
That's why I'm beautiful.
Isn't that just a comparison? Once someone comes out who is more beautiful than you,
you will soon be the one who is not beautiful. For example, the reason why you are rich is because of him. You are richer than him, so you have money.
Once someone appears who is richer than you,
you will soon become unlucky. So confidence is best unfounded.
Unfounded confidence is perfect. It's totally okay for you to think you're handsome. Because he is handsome and good looking.
In fact, the more well-founded your confidence is, this self-confidence becomes less and less. The easier it is to be defeated.
Because you can never be the most powerful you. No matter how rich you are. You won't be as rich as Buffett.
There will be people richer than Buffett. You said you are 1.8 meters tall. You are very confident. Once you join the basketball team,
you find out that you are a cripple.
If your confidence is based on that, you're easy to crack. So it's best to have unfounded confidence.
Of course, we are talking about.
As an ordinary person,
you have no chance to become the best. You really want to become the richest man in the world.
That's better.
You won't have this either.
The problem of loss of self-affirmation.
So you think you are a rich man. I feel tall.
I think I'm handsome. This is a kind of self-awareness. You think you can do it. Some girls. The source of her confidence is that she is young and beautiful. But people will eventually have a day when they are no longer young. So if you take this as a basis, think you are good looking are beautiful words. Then when that day comes, you will soon become a very pessimistic person. Your sense of self-affirmation will disappear in an instant. Your confidence will be gone.
That's why your confidence is better off unfounded.
Just think about it. Then some people might say,
if I have this confidence, it's from a place that has no basis whatsoever.
What's theirs? If you think you have money, what's the use?
In fact, this is the most useful thing.
What do others think is the use of your money? At most, you can treat him to a meal.
Thinking that you are rich is a kind of self-comfort. This is of practical use. Of course, if others can give you this kind of confidence.
It's a girl you like.
Suddenly said you are so handsome. You will be happy for a month. Isn't this the most effective?
But you can't count on. Others will always give you such positive feedback.
No one has this obligation to do this.
So you have to give yourself this positive feedback. This is what we are going to talk about.
You keep improving yourself. What is the purpose of self-affirmation?
Your purpose in providing this confidence. Not for success,
but make yourself feel relaxed and happy.
As long as you feel happy, That's okay.
The second way to improve your sense of self-affirmation.
Just try not to use negative words as much as possible.
Positive words.
This is exactly the same as the law of attraction. Just let's not say I don't want to fail, but we want to succeed. When encountering difficulties, don't say it's bad, it's bad, it's bad.
It's over, it's over.
Instead, you should say okay, okay, okay. Don't say what to do or what to do. It should be said that there should be a solution.
For example, you lost money. You have to tell yourself that you will avoid disaster if you lose money. That is, no matter what negative things happen to you, try to find a way to turn it into a positive thought. To think about this problem.
Things haven't changed, just a change in the way of thinking. So in the end, it's you who changes this matter.
Increase your own sense of self-affirmation.
As long as you feel comfortable and happy, that's fine.
For example, you didn't get into college, didn't get into a prestigious university.
You will think, this must be another way God has opened for you.
This is actually how things are in this world.
The route you design may not necessarily be the best one, and what God designs for you is often the most suitable for you. This is life. In other words,
it is a truth that everyone should fully understand.
It's a blessing in disguise. This is how the world works.
No matter what you think is a good result, it is good. What you think is a bad outcome is bad. So you don't have to, because of a negative outcome that you think.
Just keep crushing myself. Why do we face difficulties? Show a positive attitude.
It's because it's useless for us to be negative.
The second is, most things in this world, none of it can go according to plan. This is a norm.
Face setbacks. Facing difficulties is normal.
On the contrary, it is abnormal for everything to be smooth sailing. You do a normal thing.
To a normal thing.
You say it's too bad. It's too bad. Is it over? If you don't know, your normal behavior should be, okay, okay, I know.
So I'm just telling you.
With a normal attitude.
To accept normal things in this world.
Not for everyone to deceive themselves.
To deceive oneself.
Even when faced with failure, he said.
I deceive myself.
Not cheating at all.
It's a normal behavior.
Because failure is normal.
Then improve the loss of self-affirmation. There is another very important thing.
Just try to let go of the past, even though
letting go of the past is very difficult.
But you still have to let it go. Try to forgive others. Forgive yourself.
If you can't forgive others, I can't forgive myself for what I said. You'll always be stuck in the past. You will always think of this. I get angry just thinking about you.
If you don't want to be angry anymore, then forgive.
If you can't forgive,
just try to forget.
If you're stuck in the past, you don't have the present.
There is no tomorrow.
So besides forgetting the past,
another very important thing is to tell yourself, in fact, there is nothing in this world other than living. Nothing more important. No matter how important you think it is now, in a few years you will look back. Maybe it's not that important. After a month, it won't feel so important. That's it. So,
you don't have to get hung up on the fact that it's important.
I must succeed.
I must finish it.
No need.
I don't think much about it.
But the blisters on my mouth started to pop up. This is a subconscious way of thinking. If you want to completely solve this problem, you must develop a habit of positive thinking. Just like we are in this conversation with the devil. The devil makes your negative energy create a habit. You will continue to generate negative energy. And positive energy can also create habits.
You may have heard of a saying, it takes 21 days for a person to form a habit.
This was in 1960, a plastic surgeon discovered.
He found that people adapt to their new face. That's plastic surgery. It takes about 21 days.
New face. Only then will he accept this face.
But then in 2009,
the University of London conducted another experiment. Discover. This 21-day statement may not be very accurate.
Because they measured a lot of people.
Discover.
The time it takes for everyone to form habits is different. It can take as short as 18 days to form a habit. And some people may take more than 200 days to generate. But everyone has such a cycle of physiological habits. Eventually, it becomes a habit. So everyone should adopt this positive way of thinking.
Gradually, it became a habit.
It won't be so painful anymore. You won't be hurt again. Why do I think that? I just can't think like that. Actually not. You just haven't formed a habit. Time has not come yet. Another.
How to quickly increase your sense of self-affirmation. Just use the power of lighting. It's just that you want to live happily every day.
Then fill your room with things you like.
Fill your table. If you have someone or something you particularly like, just set them as desktop, mobile desktop. I see their words every day. You will feel better. It is easy to have a positive emotion. If you do the same thing every day, if you eat the same thing,
self-affirmation will gradually decline.
The best thing is to do something different every day.
It doesn't mean that the unit is days.
You probably do something different every moment.
It's all good. It adds a sense of freshness.
No matter how small it is, it's okay. For example, if you sit in the office for a long time,
then find a chance to stand up and go for a walk.
You eat rice every day. Just try to eat noodles one day. Eat bread.
Drink the same coffee every day.
Just change your taste. If you get off at the same station every day, just change the station and get off. Get up at 8 o'clock every day. Which day do you get up at 5 o'clock?
Maybe you'll discover a new world. Change hairstyle occasionally.
Will give people some different feelings. A life without freshness.
It will make people more and more negative energy.
The sense of self-confidence is getting lower and lower.
Well, in addition to what we just said about some immediate results,
in addition to some ways to improve your mood,
there are some methods can improve your mood in the long term.
The first one is to write down all your ideas.
Actually, man is not good at being in the brain.
Think clearly about a complex issue.
The more you think about it, the more complicated it will become.
The more I think about it, the more confused I become. The solution, just write it down.
Author of Conversations with God,
is not it.
The first time I wrote down my thoughts, God appeared and began to answer his questions. Maybe after everyone writes down their troubles,
a God will also appear.
Tell you how to solve this problem.
Why is it solved immediately after writing it down?
Because of,
after you write it down, you will see this issue from God's perspective.
You broke away.
Get out of the problem. He turned out to be here. You can't see clearly. As soon as I write it down, immediately your feeling increases to another dimension. The problem will be solved immediately. Really useful method. You can try it.
The second one is, learn to detach yourself from difficulties.
This is somewhat similar to the first method.
You just have to imagine it.
When encountering this difficulty, how did others solve it, especially the one you like?
Someone you admire. How could they possibly solve it?
Just follow their example and solve the problem. Even if you haven't seen them actually solve anything, you can imagine the benefits of this kind of detachment. One aspect is to separate you from the problem. The blow to you will be reduced.
All your energy
will focus on how to solve the problem. The second is the difficulties encountered in life.
It's someone else's attack on you.
Or someone else's disapproval of you. No matter what, you have to understand what he is attacking.
If he is attacking you, you can completely ignore it.
If the attack is a problem,
if you separate the problem from you, the harm to you can be minimized as much as possible.
I said you have to turn yourself into water. No matter what kind of blow, can't do any harm to you.
Can enhance self-affirmation. The most important and core part.
It's really self-affirmation, that is. No matter how little you do, you usually do some good things. Right thing.
Smooth things. Give yourself positive feedback and praise. Tell yourself you really did it. Very well done.
An important reason why many people suffer from self-distress. They all set the standard too high. And the best way to improve, just set yourself as the standard. What's the meaning?
That is to say, to people.
1 meter 8.
1 meter 6.
If you take 1.8 meters as the standard,
then these two people are normal people.
A dwarf. If you take 1.6 meters as the standard, just a normal guy and a tall guy. The two of them have not changed. Your perspective.
If there is a change in your standards, the whole view of the world changes.
if you take 1.9 meters as the standard. This world is all wrong.
We think this world is unfortunate, most likely because
Our standards are too high. So this standard is very important.
the best way is to set yourself as the standard. There is no need for you to lower your standards too low.
Just think everything is normal. So to sum ITUP, first, you have to create something for yourself that makes you happy. Happy environment.
Secondly, don't compare.
Whether it's comparing with the past or comparing with others.
Don't compare. The third is that it is best to ignore other people's opinions. This person is very important to you
You can accept, but you don't have to accept everyone's opinion.
because he really doesn't make sense.
The fourth is to try to write down your feelings.
When you write down your chaotic mood,
You will find it might not be that hard to solve.
another thing is to lower the standards.
The hardships of our lives.
It's often because you set your standards too high.
Hardship caused.
You tried lowering it. The world will become very beautiful.
Besides, just try to detach yourself from the problem.
You and the problem are not one.
You are not the problem. You are the one who solves the problem.
It's much better to think this way,
At last, just learn to affirm your own achievements.
even if it's just a little achievement.
You need to do the above, and
If you can turn them into habits,
your life will become extremely beautiful.
realize happiness every day.
People should try their best.
Reduce leisure time as much as possible. Because of leisure time, people tend to think about terrible things.
This is consistent with the religious concept.
It's called living in the moment. Why live in the present? Because only live in the present. Talent is happiness. Furthermore, current research has found
Just say if you have time. What do you do to relieve your stress? A 2006 study by the University of Sussex in the UK found that,
the best way to relieve stress is to read.
especially reading novels.
Can reduce people's stress by 68%.
Second place listens to music 61% less.
Drinking black tea ranked third with 54% and walking ranked fourth with 42%. Playing games 21%. So play games. Probably not the best way to relieve stress.
The best thing is to read, and read this book. Don't be too difficult.
The simpler the better.
The more entertaining the better.
Small books like this are the best. So if you feel uneasy, feel bad,
If you feel stressed, just try reading a book.
starts taking effect in 6 minutes.
68% stress. Nearly 70% of the stress will disappear. But don't watch movies. It's because of the movie. Now the design is to visually,
Auditory.
a mode in which various senses stimulate you,
This sense of excitement and involvement.
will produce tension and pressure. If you want to release pressure smoothly.
That is the best thing to read.
Okay, then let's get here first today.
Wish you all a happy day.